Okay. I haven't sat behind a camera in months, so this is not my first take because I realized that because I haven't filmed anything in a while, I have lost my voice. So lately, I've just been practicing trying to get my voice back, and I think I have. Since I was last active on my channel, posting consistently, if I ever was. I think I've gained like a number of subscribers, although my channel was dormant. So I need to do a reintroduction. Hi, my name is Audrey. I'm a writer, I'm a fiction writer, and a video creator, I guess. And I like to tell stories about lots of random things, but mostly a lot of things that are happening with me. I feel like I like to use my storytelling to make people feel understood and heard. So I share lots of personal experiences and things like that on this channel. So welcome. It's been a while, so I feel like a life update is in order. So if you've been on this channel, you would know that I took a gap semester. I took a break from school for a semester. And then it was over the summer break as well. So I had like 9 months at home. And I took the break from school mainly to find my mind because I had lost it. And so I felt like, you know what, I don't have any more gas to continue with school. So I really need to take this break to like come back to center, like to come back to myself, to find my mind, to take care of myself and make sure that I'm properly energized to do school. I also moved out of my parents' house for some time, and I think that did wonders for my mind because during the gap I was going to therapy. I was trying to find better ways of regulating myself and taking care of myself, and being alone in my own space really helped me do that. And I would 100% recommend moving out and also taking a break from school or work or anything if you have the luxury to, because I feel like it's very important, and your health and peace of mind and, you know, oneness with yourself is much more important than school and things, to be very honest. Yeah, so I was able to go back to school after my break, which was amazing because for the first semester while I was back, I was so energized. I had like a very fresh mind to focus on school, and I did it so well, at least for the most part of it. The end of the semester, things went a bit sideways. But for the most part, like the semester was amazing. And then the second semester came and I started to lose interest in school again because I was never really interested in school to begin with. And it has always been a very big battle for me because I always felt like school was standing in the way of the things that I really wanted to be doing. And you can probably relate to this as well, especially if you're very inclined to creative work and stuff. Sometimes being in such a rigid system can be very difficult, and I've always fought against like the way the school system has been designed. Anyway, so yeah, my second semester, which is this semester that I just finished, was very difficult for me, and I started prioritizing everything else aside from school. I organized a music show, which was amazing. I organized a music show with Sofa Sounds on campus. I was running a business on campus. I was doing a school competition. I was also entering my own writing competition. I was just doing so many other things outside of school until the point where I realized that, oh my God, I have prioritized everything else and now my grades are suffering. And so I began to have the fear that I won't be able to graduate. It was very scary, but then I'm graduating. Today is Tuesday. On Saturday, I will be graduating. I'll probably make a video about that. And I'm so proud of myself because it has been a very big fight. It has been a very, very big fight within myself, with school, and just like really trying to get myself to do this thing that I didn't really want to do, but I realized was probably important for me to do. I'm so proud of myself for not giving up. Okay, actually, I gave up a lot of times, but I'm so proud of myself for coming this far, you know, despite all the things that I might have been dealing with. And although I'm not graduating with my year group, I'm still so happy to go to my graduation ceremony and celebrate myself for the progress that I have made and the healing that I've been able to come to. Another thing I really want to talk about is my mental health. I think that's been a running theme on this channel as well. If you see, my last video was me celebrating 1 year depression free. It's a very big point of celebration for me after having dealt with this thing on and off for like 5 to 6 years. I was very suicidal towards the end of last year because of certain things that were happening. And I just felt like, you know what, I do not want to exist because for some reason, my most rational thought at the time was that okay, I'm feeling all of this pain. So to not feel this pain, then I should just not exist, right? Because I couldn't see any way out of dealing with anything. But I wasn't actively suicidal. Like I wasn't like actively planning what to do. I was just passively suicidal. I'm okay to admit this. I think it's a point that we all come to. Hey, maybe. I think it's a point that a couple of people or a number of people come to like at certain points in their lives, and I'm not afraid to admit that. The crazy thing about, coming out of or healing from depression is that once I was able to step out of all of that, like kind of move past it a little bit, I realized that there was a bunch of stuff waiting for me to come and deal with. Because, like while you're depressed and things, like that's all you're dealing with. Like you're dealing with all of the symptoms, you're dealing with all of the attendant problems that come as a result of the problem of being depressed. And there's so many other issues like in your life, so many traumas and so many things that like are sitting there waiting for you to deal with. At some point in your healing journey is going to come. Like you think that, oh my God, I've been able to heal from this really horrible thing. And then right at its heels is going to be something probably even worse. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think that it has only come because you are ready to deal with this now. So even as I had dealt with depression and, sort of like been able to put that behind me, I now had to be dealing with probably more intense things, because now I was discovering like traumas that I didn't know I had. I started realizing that, oh my God, like I have a lot of abandonment trauma that I need to deal with. Like I was feeling like so abandoned and alone, and feeling like there was this like awfully minute store of love in myself and in my life. It was leading me to behave in certain ways in my relationships and friendships and stuff that's like made me realize that, bro, like this is something that's deep seated that I need to really deal with. It just makes me realize that you can have like all the knowledge of psychology in the world. Like I have been so obsessed with learning like the inner workings of the human mind. Like I'm always trying to write about it. I'm always reading so many things about, why we behave like this, why we do this way. It's so fascinating to me. But you can know all of these things and still like see yourself going contrary to all the things that you know. And I used to punish myself so much for it, but I realized that there really is a divide between you knowing certain things and then you actually doing them. Because like the part of your brain that knows the things is not the part of the brain that controls you doing them, right? And so until like your limbic system, or the part of your brain that is responsible for, like your fight or flight responses, or you're doing, is able to like properly know and understand what to do, nothing is ever going to change or happen. I would say the most important thing that has helped me throughout this time of dealing with things is holding myself with compassion. Because the danger, or should I call it the paradox of healing or dealing with oneself, is that if you're not careful, you will be coming from a place of, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. If you're not very careful and you're coming from a place of, oh, there's so many things about me that I need to fix, you might end up hating yourself. And this is something that I really struggled with before, was just this intense sense of self-hate, right? Because I'm like, oh my God, I know that I shouldn't be doing these things. I know that I shouldn't be behaving this way. So why do I behave this way? And any normal person wouldn't behave this way. So why am I behaving this way? That made my healing so difficult for me. And I found myself going through the same patterns over and over again. And I just look at it, I'm like, bro, I understand that healing is not linear. But then why do I keep coming to this point when I know that this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing? But coming to a place of understanding that in order to heal, like the only way is going to really work is if you are very compassionate with yourself. If you recognize that, okay, this is the person I am. I accept the person I am at this point in time in my life. I have like a level of acceptance of this. I love myself anyway. I love myself unconditionally. And with this love and compassion I have for myself, I can now gradually deal with these things and then let go of these bad habits. If you look at it this way, your healing is going to be so much easier for you. One interesting thing I learned from somebody really close to me was she said, like, I recognize that I make mistakes sometimes. Like, I'm human, I'm fallible. So I recognize that I make mistakes sometimes. But one thing I am never going to do is hate myself for it. There was a very interesting thing to listen to, because I grew up thinking that, like, love is only earned based off of, your behavior, based off if you have been good to yourself or to other people. So anytime I did something that was contrary to a good image of myself, like, I just immediately hated myself and criticized myself so strongly for it. I'm really learning to stop doing that, because I only have myself, So if I don't give myself the love and compassion that I need or want. On the topic of empathy, two things actually. First thing, so I have realized that my empathy is very big, too big, and maybe like counterproductive to me in the end, because, like, I understand, being able to put yourself in people's shoes and things. I think I'm able to do it a bit too much, to the point where it destroys me. So most of the time that I was even down or anything, like in some of my depressions, you would find that I wouldn't even be mourning myself at all. I would be mourning other people's pain and mourning the world, like the state of the world and the awful lack of love in the world. I would be mourning capitalism and literally how it influences every other injustice in the world. I would be mourning the fact that there's people who don't have anywhere to sleep. I would always grieve the world, to the point where it destroys me so much that, like, now that I'm so struck down, I don't even have the strength to help them, although what I really wanted to be doing in the first place was to help them or to alleviate their pain. I had a lot of happiness guilt, like, if I was feeling in the slightest way happy at all, like within myself, I would suddenly feel so guilty, because why am I feeling happy and excited when there's so much evil in the world? And I felt like, I don't want to participate, like, in this world at all, because what is the point in making myself happy and then pursuing my dreams if it's only going to make only me happy, and then everybody else is still sad and struggling? Around the time where I was suicidal, for example, like, even for myself even was not enough motivation to convince me to not be suicidal, right? Because, like, thinking, think about the dreams that you have and things, it just felt very selfish to me. And I'm like, I don't think I want to keep existing in this world if I have to be selfish for myself. Because why should I be selfish for myself if there are other people struggling? My therapist was like, self-preservation is not selfish. Self-preservation is one of the most important laws in this world. And imagine that you are in, like, you have people in a sinking ship and you're trying to save them. You don't enter the sinking ship and be sinking with them. If I really claim that I have this compassion for people and I really want to help them, the first point of contact with helping is to help myself. If I'm able to help myself and keep myself strong, even though I feel like it's selfish to do, in the end, it's going to make me strong enough to pull other people out of the situations that they are in. So I'm trying to learn to still have empathy for people, because I think that having my empathy is important. I think that having my empathy and sensitivity is a gift, actually, because I used to really hate myself for it, to the point that, why am I so sensitive, and why do the smallest situations that I'm not even about myself break me so much? But I've come to recognize my empathy and sensitivity as a gift, because as an artist, as a creator, as somebody who writes, who tries to tell stories, like through video or any other medium I might discover later on in my life, I need to be able to feel these feelings that are outside of myself, so that I can properly tell stories that will make people, like I said, feel heard and understood. Because there are a lot of people also who don't have a voice to speak up about the things that they're going through, to ask for help and things. And then I have found that if I have this gift of storytelling, and I also have this gift of empathy and sensitivity, they would work really closely together, only if I'm able to properly manage my empathy. And properly managing my empathy here means being able to feel like what other people are feeling, but then also to be able to protect myself from being broken down by the things that I'm feeling from other people. The second thing on empathy I wanted to talk about is my mother, because I think I got this gift from my mother, because she's the most compassionate, most empathetic person I have ever met. She's the biggest empath I have ever met in my life. While I was feeling so lonely in my life and feeling so alone and so abandoned in this world and feeling this awful lack of love existing in the world, she was really there to show me what love looks like, show me what empathy and compassion looks like. I was in school sometime having a very horrible time. And I get a video call from my mother. And when I'm looking, she's standing in this stretch with like plants around her. She looked like she was on a mountain or something. So I was like, "Oh, where are you? What's happening? What are you doing?" And I said, my school is on a mountain. It's very far away. It's in a rural area, sort of. It's far. And she's like, "I am hiking to your school." I do not know how long this hike is, but my mother hiked all the way from our house to my school because she heard around where she spoke to some people and they told her that there's a path like along the other side of the mountain that you can walk from Accra to Brekusu. My school is not in Accra. And she found that path. And she woke up one morning and she's like, "You know what? My daughter has been alone in school, feeling alone." And all that. Because I started talking to her about how alone I feel and how unloved I feel. And she, that morning, took a hike all the way to my school to surprise me. In that moment, when I saw what she had done for me, I was like, "You know what? This is the standard of love that I have been looking for. This is the standard of love that I have always yearned for in my life. And never again should I tell myself that I am unloved. Because if I've been able to see this level of love that exists in my life, and I could never see it for so long in my life, although it existed. Like my perception was just blinded. That was the biggest show of love, empathy, compassion, like that I have ever seen. And she has been, wow. So yeah, that was something that happened. That's a life update as well. That's something that happened in this past semester. So I think at this next stage of my life, I feel like I've stepped into a different phase of my life. Not only because I'm graduating and moving on to like enter the world, which I think is a very ridiculous thing to take because our lives like started once we were born. I don't like to think of my life as like, oh, I've gone to school and then now I'm done with school, so I'm now ready to start life or like enter the working world, or no. I am also at a new like phase of my growth. Like I feel like I'm very connected with myself now. There's still a long way to go with coming back to myself and like really like united with myself. But I feel like I have come a very long way, and when it comes to holding myself with love and compassion, and when it comes to really understanding myself, like I think I really understand myself more now without judgments. And I'm really excited for this next stage of my life. There's so many things actually that I am doing and looking forward to now that I'll talk about more on this channel anyway. I'm grateful for the realizations that I'm beginning to have about myself. I found that I'm a very fearful person for some reason. Like I think I'm also very fearless, but I'm also very fearful at the same time. And I'm gradually stepping out of that fear, and it's very beautiful for me to see. I'm also coming to terms with how much power I actually have within myself, which I forgot for a very long time. Like I'm recognizing more and more that I am a mighty thing. I think it's something that all of us should remember, that we are mighty things that are very capable of taking control of our lives and the things around us. I feel like the world has really been engineered to make us forget how much power we really have within ourselves. I'm finally coming into myself, like I'm finally remembering that, and I'm very grateful. I think like this next stage of my life is really, like I would title this like a remembrance of who I am. I'm going to try every more consistency on my channel now. I think I will just need time with like preparing the stories I want to, because I really want to be more intentional about the things that I put on my channel. There's definitely going to be a lot more updates because there's a lot of stuff really going on in my life that I'm very excited to share. I really have some exciting things. I just don't want to talk about them now. But yeah, so if you stayed through to the end, this has been a very long video. I'm really grateful. I just want to encourage everybody, with everything that they're doing. I just want to encourage you to keep doing it. Sometimes we don't find answers just by staying in one place. We find the answers as we keep going. Like the universe really likes it when you keep going. Even if you can't run, even if you can't walk, if you have to drag yourself on the ground, just keep going and some answer will appear. Keep holding yourself with compassion and love. I think my favorite thing is love. The most important thing in life is love. Love for yourself, love for people around you. I feel like if we felt more love within ourselves and more love for other people, like so much evil in the world wouldn't exist, you know? So yeah, go love yourself and go love someone.